Hey chat, how are you? Size like a Nevadan hooker. So we went to Tahoe, South Lake Tahoe to be specific. It was a one night cha'a, 1 day, 1 night. So packing beforehand, my wife, Carolyn, insisted on packing bathing suits for all four of us. And I was like, okay. We stayed at Bally's. Bally's has an indoor pool. I swam once in an indoor pool, and I was like, why? I need to get my tan on because splashing around in water just doesn't do it for me anymore. 0 of 4 of us actually went swimming. The pool closed at 8, and Carolyn was like, I wish it didn't close at 8. And I said, you want to go swimming in an indoor pool at midnight? Okie dokie, Smokey. I packed 1 pair of undies, no shorts, no shirts, no service. 1 pair of undies because that's all I need. I watch Below Deck, okay? I know how these rich pricks get around. They change 6 times a day. They wake up and gotta wear something to breakfast. Okay. After breakfast, oh, we're going in the water. Okay, gotta put on bathing suits. Okay. After they swim around, oh, we're going into town shopping. Okay, we gotta change again. Come back from town, oh, we gotta change into formal wear for dinner. Okay. And then time to go to bed, turn in, late night drinks. Oh, I gotta change again, something less formal. Okay, it's like if I did Below Deck, if I did an actual luxury super yacht, I'd wear some swim trunks and a t-shirt. And the swim trunks would get dirty, but they would dry. So I just grabbed 1 pair of chonies, threw it in a Ziploc bag, took a Sharpie out, and I wrote open in case of emergency. The drive there, so we're not even on the freeway, and my sparkling wifey says, I feel like my tires are low. And I said, Dios mío, as I looked up to the sky. But I said, honey, you just got 4 new tires. We just got you 4 new tires, and you got an oil change for $120. Meineke a ripoff. And that's part of their checklist. They top off your wiper fluid and they inflate your tires to the proper PSI. So your tires are okay. I didn't actually know that. And I was thinking about it the entire trip. But we were fine. The tires were fine. Driving through Placerville, aka Old Hangtown, they have signal lights on the freeway. I don't know why. Slowing down Highway 50 to a standstill. An interstate, you're slowing down because why? Why not have a freeway exit or 2? Y'all Placervillians ain't special. Carolyn's 2012 Kia Sorento lacks punch. The slightest incline, hill, she shuts her AC off, so all of the car engine can be devoted to acceleration. Like in Star Trek, when the Ferengi are firing phasers at the Star Trek Enterprise, and Jean-Luc Picard goes, maximum power to the front shields, pew 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 pew. The road conditions in spots, shitty. But I imagine because any construction on Highway 50, which as sometimes is 2 lane, 1 lane this way, 1 lane coming back that way, be a pain in the arse. And I didn't want to say it while we were driving, but imagine an accident on when it's 2 lane. Oh, it messes up everything. You got to get authorities out there. They got to clear the car to the side. Sometimes there isn't a side to clear. I don't know. Thank goodness we had no traffic on either way. We didn't play music the entire drive to or fro. We yapped a little. Kids joined in here and there. But both ways, we just had 0 music. Because when you have the Bluetooth, it's a lot of pressure. And it's like, skip. And I want to hear this and I want to hear that. And you spend a lot of time thinking about the next song. It just becomes a whole thing. Although we've had some fun times listening to Disney tunes for an hour drive here and there. But this time, just mostly silence. Taking it all in, man. When you cross over from California to the Nevada state line, whores everywhere. So I start pointing and yelling at people, whore. Hey, they're just paying their way through college. But when you do cross the state line, it's like in Tommy Boy, that's when the whores come in. Hopped on a cruise, cost nearly 500 big ones, $105 per ticket. I'm like, okay, whatever, $100. But then the fuel surcharge of 6%, the service and processing charges of 7.5% comes to $476.70. That's nearly 500 smackaroos. A little pricey for a 2-hour cruise. Fun fact, Lake Tahoe is 1,600 feet deep at its deepest. That doesn't seem that deep to me. Another fun fact, Folsom Lake is man-made. So we're yapping about lakes in line waiting for our cha'a. And Carolyn says, Folsom Lake is man-made. And I was like, oh, no. Get out of here with that nonsense. But lo and behold, we Googled it, we searched it up. And yeah, it was created in 1955 by the Army Corps of Engineers for flooding or something. But that surprised the heck out of me. We were supposed to be sober on this trip, but when in Rome. So on the boat, bought a couple drinks, $10 per can. A little steep. I got 2, one for me, one for wifey. Didn't tip the bartender. I mean, you handed me 2 cans, bro. Sorry, no tip. I got some Jack Daniel's hard cider. It was actually really good. Carolyn got some IPA. Tastes like every IPA you've ever had. But for whatever reason, she opened her can and it exploded. IPA went everywhere. Even got on her shoes on the ground. Unclear why that happened, but then she proceeded, because she's a do-gooder, to grab some napkins, and she starts wiping up the floor. I'm like, honey, stop that. That's their job. Just say, perchance, could you wipe this up? Because the can you handed to me exploded. Like, what the heck? And they should have given her another. So, oh, sorry about that. Here's another can, but they didn't. Probably because I didn't tip. Oh, well. Captain of our boat, Captain Zach. He's no Captain Jason. He's barely a Captain Sandy. He's more like Captain Glenn. But while he was driving us around, I did walk up to him on the port bridge. And I said, listen, I don't want to tell you how to do your job, but I do watch Below Deck, so shouldn't someone be on the starboard side? They had blankets, which at first I was like, huh? But then some people started using them because it was allegedly cold. It was like low 70s, maybe high 60s, and there's a little gusty breeze when you're outside. There's also inside of the boat. But these people were indoors, inside of the boat, wearing blankets. And I was like, okay, did the cavemen have blankies on their boat cruises? Man up, woman up. Lake Tahoe is too big. Okay, this cruise is too long. It's too long. It's like when you go to a movie, they could have cut 45 minutes off that movie. Or when you watch a 3-part documentary, they could have told the story in one episode. 2 hours of a cruise, it's too long. There's a lot of lake to cover. And I was like, speed it up, Captain Zach. All gas, no brakes, bro. But it was too much. They should offer an economy, half hour, $50. I'd be there. And then Captain Zach can say, look at those rocks and look at those trees and look at that mountain for a half hour. And I'm good. I'd be good. Let's get back to land ho, shall we? Between all the Captain Zach yammering on and on about the one island in Lake Tahoe, they were playing lots of Eagles. They had it tuned to Sirius XM Essential Eagles, which is fine, I guess. Except for when they played Glenn Fry's Sexy Girl, and I was like, Lolo, there's children here, Captain Zach. Lunch, we did Artemis Lakefront Cafe. It's right there when you get off the boat. Smack dab right in the middle of all this tourist trap action. Carolyn ordered the mezzi platter, which is a bunch of sauces and dips, falafel, dolmas, hummus, baba ganoush, tzatziki, tabbouleh, along with warm pita bread, calamari olives, and pepperoncinis. And I was like, this is just stuff they had from the refrigerator and they put on a plate. So my heart sank. I, I, I want the chef to cook, to cut, to do something in the kitchen. So I just slap a bunch of stuff from a can or a jar onto a plate. But that's what she ordered, and that's fine. She didn't finish it all. It was too much food. I had some of her falafel, dry AF. I got the lamb gyro. It was terrible, bad, no flavor, no seasoning, no nothing. If you want good lamb, go to Extreme Hummus in Citrus Heights. But this Artemis place is all about location, 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 just like in real estate. You're sitting there in the sun. I had me a cerveza. You're staring at the water, watching all these losers pay for valet when there are open parking spots everywhere, as far as the eye can see, but whatever. And that almost made up for the crappy food. Get to the telly, the hotel, Bally's, early check-in. I had called a few days before. Can we get early check-in? Can we get our 2 rooms next to each other, situated near each other, please? Yes, we'll try. Okay. Get to the front desk. $25 early check-in. And I said, but I called and asked, and they said, it's still $25. And I was like, okay. And it was 2:30. So I was like, okay, you got me. I'm not going to wait around 90 more minutes to check in. Fine. Our hotel, we got 2 rooms, $74 a pop, but they throw on the resort fees, the surcharges, Prop 22 taxes, a reverse mortgage. It came out to the grand total of $290, 2 rooms, 1 night. We were on the 3rd floor. The views, well, Lake Tahoe views of the incline roof of Bally's. Yeah, we got 2 rooms. They were opposite, on opposite sides of the hallway. Mine and Carolyn's room. We just saw Bally's roof, and we were facing the mountains. We couldn't even see the mountains. You could see the tippy top of one mountain, but other than that, it was just a sloped Bally's roof. I was like, all right, views like the Drake album. Kids' room view was better, but you still got the golden nugget blocking any view of the water. Lennox was perturbed, to say the least. He wanted a higher floor. A few years ago, him and Lincoln and Lincoln's dad, Ben Ween, took him out there, and they were on the 8th floor with the view of the lake. But this time, 3rd floor, no view. And he was not happy. I remember complaining as a kid, and my stepdad, Grandpa Curtis, would always say, "Oh, you're breaking my heart." And I'd be like, okay, I kind of understand that. But now I get it. Oh, I get it. And I wanted to say that, but I said, Len, if you want to go to the 8th floor or a higher floor or whatever, go down to the front desk, say, hey, I'm in room 314 and 315. Is it possible, perchance, you have a higher floor room? And they could say yes, or they could say no. And he's like, can you say that? And I was like, yeah, you can say anything you want. And he's like, would they change it? And I was like, well, maybe not, but it doesn't hurt to ask. The worst they could say is no, but he did not complain. And I thought, well, I haven't taught you anything, boy. You got to complain. You got to whine. You got to email corporate. Bally's Wi-Fi sucked. Like, it was hecka slow. So back to the 4G LTE I go. Thanks for the free crappy Wi-Fi, Bally's. Carolyn had to use the restroom, so we're sitting there in the front desk area, sat down on some chairs. In the middle of all these chairs was this busted up old table, like cracks, chips, missing chunks of table. I would call it distressed, but I looked around and I was like, who are these people? Well, who are these people who stay here? People looking for a bargain, maybe? And then who are these people who work at these rundown tellies? You got the hot, hip, beautiful Cesar's Republic right across the street. It's way happening over there. They got the Gordon Ramsay kitchen, and their patrons way more moneyed than us humble folk. But then I thought about the swingers quote, And you don't want all that Pirates of the Caribbean bullshit. Me and you, guys like us, we got to kick it here. We got to keep it old school. Yeah. Bally's is definitely old school. Who stays here? Losers. Who work here? Also losers. Guilty as charged. There was no gym, okay, in this huge facility. And I was like, how are you going to call yourself a Bally's? Named after, with the same name, the same company that had a chain of gyms in the 80s, was the hottest thing around. And then here it is, 2026, you're out here without a gymnasium. I took the day off. I listened to my body, but I do lift. I'm really strong. One thing I really did like, there was always an elevator at the bottom floor, the casino level. So you walk over to the elevator to go up to your room, always one elevator ready to go. We've stayed at places, casinos, hotels, where the elevators are packed. It takes forever to get down there. Sometimes when an elevator comes to your floor, there's already 15 people in there, and you're like, oh, I guess I'll take the next elevator. But this one was really nice. Just head to the elevators, always one waiting for you. It's also, Bally is not too big. Some casinos, you don't know where you're going. You get lost. You never get a lay of the land. Not a problem here. The Starbucks is over here. The gambling is over there. The hookers are over there. The front desk is right here. Parking lot's over there. Parking structure, actually. But not a problem getting lost here. You get acquainted location-wise pretty quickly. Our ice machine on our floor was broke. It was right across the way. I was looking forward to some ice water. But I pressed on the thing, 0 ice came out, but it was running and it was loud AF. I was like, okay. I mean, I could have called down and reported it, but whatever. The kids' room toilet seat. So Lennox comes over and he's like, there's some black stuff on our toilet. I was like, what? So I put on my plumber hat, walked over to their room, and their seat was really worn down. It's purely cosmetic. But yeah, there were some black spots, black gray lines on their toilet seat, and I was like, what the heck, dude? A new toilet seat, $30, $50 tops, slap it on there. Okay, Bally's. Our room, mine and Carolyn's room, 2 queen beds. We slept in separate beds. At first we were like, should we sleep together, should we not sleep together? But we slept separate beds, like Lucy and Ricky Ricardo. The mattress, bouncy, some would say cheap, but not the greatest quality. When we first walked in, Carolyn found a hair on hers. I was like, okay, well, maybe it's yours, even though we just walked in. She slept in a hoodie with her hood up for fear of the bed bugs. I was like, bed bugs need hibernation too. They have feelings too. I fell asleep with my watch on, which I wasn't even paying attention. But we were turning in, and Carolyn looks at me. She's like, you going to sleep with your watch on? And I said, you dang right I am. Much like in the 1987 comedy Inner Space, starring Martin Short, Meg Ryan, and Dennis Quaid. The cowboy, I make love with my boots on. I fall asleep with my watch on. Carolyn, ever the gal, the lovely gal. She did her whole facial routine. She brushed her teeth. So I just crashed out. Must be nice doing all that stuff. But I'm on vacation. I don't need to brush no teeth. So some hotel rooms, they have the little dispensers. Back in the day, they used to have bottles, tiny bottles for shampoo, conditioner, body wash, all that jazz. But now they got the little dispensers where you push a button and it squirts out whatever shampoo or conditioner. But Bally's had the bottles, at which point Carolyn grabbed them all and brought them home. And I said, well, theft is the reason that they're putting all these dispensers in all these hotel bathrooms. You're part of the problem. But then I stole all the coffee in both rooms. Okay, I'm part of the problem. 2, when I stay in a hotel, I like to leave everything on. TV, AC. I'm going to get my $74 worth. And the price doubled after fees and taxes and whatnot. But Carolyn, not so much. She's like, turn the TV off when you're done with it. can you turn that light off? When you go to bed, turn that light off. And I was like, oh, okay, honey. But lo and behold, across the way, Lennox and Luna were having the same disagreements about how much curtain to keep the window open or closed, what temperature the AC should be on. So I said, Lennox, Luna, this is what having a roommate is like. This is what marriage is like. The TV, the telly, telly. That's slang for hotel, and also slang for TV in the UK. The television, hotel television, they had the Food Network. I was ready to dive into some diners, drive-ins, and dives marathon, but they had the Food Network. But Triple D, they did not have Food Network was not running Triple D. They had some stupid cooking show competition, Iron Chef, Beat Bobby Flay, Guy's Grocery Game, whatever. It doesn't matter. So I was like, oh, this sucks. I was ready to take in some Guy Fieri. But what was on the TV? Knicks Spurs game 5. Lennox came over to our room. We cheered, we jeered, we laughed, we cried. We had a grand old time. A lot of you guys are in my DMs. Who should we cheer for? Who are you going for, Vince? Who do you want to win? Who are you pulling for? I'm going for the Spurs, okay? These celebrities with their charmed lives, Nepo baby Ben Stiller, industry plant Tim Chalamet, they got all the fame and fortune. I hate seeing them happy. And what about the Texans? What about the blue-collar, hard-working, flyover country regular Joes in San Antone? Don't you want to see them happy? Or do they not matter to you? Walked around by myself a little bit, out on the street and in the casino. Carolyn and Luna walked around by themselves. Lennox was tired. He just stayed in the room. So post-lunch, pre-dinner, just walked around the casino, looked at the nightclub. The door of the nightclub was open. Walked in there. And if you want to see something scary, you see a disco during the day with all the lights on. It's not inviting. Weird. How is this happening joint? Probably isn't, because it's in the Bally's. But I parked myself at the bar in the Bally's in the gambling area. And I texted Carolyn and I told her. I didn't ask. I'm not going to say, honey, can I have a beer? No, I said, honey, I'm having a beer at the bar in the casino. You're welcome to join me. Love to have you. Please come down. But if not, this is what I'm doing. I told. Didn't ask because I'm a real man. Drank 2 beers by myself. Loser. Sat there. Bunch of dudes smashing on the gambling, whatever, screens, machines at the bar, inside the actual bar, where you put your arms in your shoulders. And I was like, you guys, get a life. Go home to your wives. All I needed was a People magazine or an Us Weekly. I did text my buddy, Mr. Marith, and I said, how do you get free booze? Because I had to pay for these beers. $8 a pop. Wow. I said, Mr. Marith, how do you get free booze? And he said, you got to be on the floor. You got to be pulling them slot machines. You got to be mixing it up at the table. And I said, oh, so then those free drinks are truly not free. Morning checkout. Went down to grab our Starbies. Almost gambled. I walked up to a slot machine and I said, I'll throw a 1 in here, or a 5 or a 10. Lo and behold, I did not have a 1 or 5 or 10, only 20s. So I was like, I'm good. I don't need to gamble. That's fine. But there was a part of me saying, just one pull on the slot machine handle, all my dreams would come true. Like Pedro said, and Napoleon Dynamite. For dinner, we went to Magaritaville. Magaritaville, it's a song. It's also a bunch of cruises. It's a cruise line. It's a chain of hotels and restaurants nicknamed Mville, the Ville, or Margs. We went to the Land Shark restaurant. Magaritaville, it's a whole resort out there in Tahoe. Hotel, bars, restaurants, all the jazz. We went to Land Shark. No resis needed. I did make reservations, but you walk in empty, void of any activity or customers, which is what happens whenever I make reservations. That's always what happens. You walk in and there's nothing going on. But I always make reservations just to be safe and because I feel important making them. But I would say, hi, Vince Nicholas, party of 3 reservations for 5:15. If that matters, it never does. We were seated immediately. So my dream was to be in Margaritaville, or is it at Margaritaville, drinking margies while listening to Margaritaville on repeat. Didn't that happen? Hell to the no. So the locale, yes, I was geographically located inside a restaurant. Some private equity firm paid Jimmy Buffett hundreds of millions of dollars so they could slap his name and face on all this nonsense. Yes, I was inside a Margaritaville. Did I drink margaritas? Well, we ordered one. It was a $16 cup of ice. Margarita. It was fine, I guess. We didn't finish it. We also got some banana thing drink for $14 and a cherry bomb for $9. $39 for 3 drinks, which isn't outrageous. If you're in a fancy schmancy dive in downtown metropolitan city of anywhere. But we were in a restaurant and they bring the drinks in like a restaurant glass, just a normal restaurant glass. And you're like, okay, well, there goes all the magic. This isn't a cocktail. This is just a drink. You got some nerve serving a margarita in a boring, medium-sized, clear glass. Whatever. Music. The music was just. They played Matchbox 20. Real world. I hope the real. Where's the Jimmy Buffet? And then they also played Summertime Blues by Eddie Cochran. Okay, that's summer. Party during summer. Island. Margarita. That's a stretch. That's a big stretch. So, but finally, when we were leaving, they played Margaritaville. But it wasn't the cassette single version. It was a live version. I was like, okay, boo, hiss. The food there, I got shrimp scampi. The pasta, it was good. It was al dente. I don't know what that means, but I like to say it. It was lots of big shrimp in there, lots of flavor. It was really good. Carolyn liked it too. She got fish tacos. The fish in the tacos was really dry, but the flavor, aka the sauce, it was good. So overall, it was fine. The aftermath, so the night before we left, we're just talking about when should we leave in the morning. Lennox wanted to leave at 3, and I was like, oh. And then Carolyn was like, how about 5? And I was like, Starbucks ain't open yet, and I don't want you driving on the side of a mountain in the dark. So how's about 8? And that's when we left at 8. Morning of, I said, get me to God's country. And we were just like, we were ready to go home to Frankie, get back to our West Sacramento parallelogram while we were driving up the mountain. And then you go down the mountain to get back into the Sacramento Valley. While we're driving up the mountain, Carolyn looks over and she goes, that'd be a high cliff to fall off of. And I was like, why would you say that right now, honey? How about concentrating on the road before you? It's something, if you come home, you're safe and sound, you're putting away your luggage or whatever, starting your laundry. Remember that cliff? Man, some of those cliffs up that mountain was hecka high. But right when you're in the midst of it, not something I want to think about. There was a Starbucks inside the Bally's, which was perfect. Went down there twice for orders. Me, Luna, and wifey put in our coffee orders. Lennox ain't into coffee, so he asked for a cake pop. Now, cake pop, normal Starbucks, $3. Okay, Still heck overpriced. Cake pop inside this Starbucks, $5. And he wanted it twice. And I was like, we're on vacation. Calories don't matter. Dollars don't matter. But I will be on my deathbed with regret, thinking I shouldn't have paid $5 for that cake pop twice. I'm dead. I've tried to get them into Walmart's generic in-house off-brand cake pop, which is $1.50 per, but it's not good. It's not the same. It's not as good. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, but it was, well, the amount of money I spent at Starbucks this weekend, I don't want to say, because Grandma Tien would have a hissy fit, but it was a lot. So when Lennox asked for that second cake pop, almost denied it, but I was like, okay, I'll green light this one. But after that, you're cut off. So how much did we spend? $300, approximately $300 for the telly, $500 for the cruise, $300 give or take for food and drink. So $1K, a tad over $1K for one night. Gucci. It ain't no Hawaii. Okay, it ain't no Mexico, but we out here and we had a blast and we had fun. Next year, parasailing for Lennox and Luna. So we're out there waiting for the cruise. And they got parasailing going on. Lennox is like, I want to do that. Carolyn was like, I want to do that too. I was like, shoot, next year. And we're going to do the gondola. So parasailing and gondola 2027. I've been parasailing when I went on a cruise. I was 7th grade, so 1990-ish. Went on a cruise to Mexico with my parents. And they did the timeshare tour trap thing where they get yapped to by some salesman for a timeshare for 2 hours. And they feed you, they wine you, they dine you, and they take you around this nice resort. And you're like, so are you thinking of buying a timeshare? But they did that specifically because at the end, they gave us a coupon for free parasailing. So I wanted to go parasailing. Grandma Tien and Grandpa Curtis were like, all right, we'll do this timeshare thing and then you can go parasailing for free. And I was like, cool. And I went with them on the 2-hour whatever sales job. But I was like, high pressure sales tactics on Grandma Tien. Good luck with that. But I did go parasailing. It's the bomb. It's so much fun. So I look forward to Lennox and wifey doing parasailing, maybe jet skis next year also. We got to price it out. We got to see how much everything costs. Frankie Blue Nicholas, our terrified weirdo of a cat, he was alone for 22 hours, 24 hours. But initially, I didn't want to get a babysitter. I didn't want to have anyone come over. So when we got back, he would finally appreciate us. And 24 hours alone with his no-no square. The Frankie Blue Nicholas story. But late audible, Carolyn hit up Kathy Bally to feed him once within the 24 hours. And she took a picture of him, said she gave him lots of pets and fed him. So Frankie was fine. And Dandy. Alrighty, I think I'm done. He was fine and Daddy too. Take care. Brush your hair. Peace out. I'm outie. 5,000 G money. Gotta go. Late. See ya. Fiend.